new Galaxy watches will launch at their next event come next month at Samsung Unpacked. And we know they're gonna launch their new Watch 7 watches, that series, but it looks like they're also gonna launch a fan edition as well. The latest information is that Samsung has confirmed the existence of their Galaxy Watch FE on their support pages on their official websites in different countries. I know Ireland was one of those countries, and I'm not gonna show it just for copyright reasons because I don't think it's up at the moment anymore, but they did show it on there, and it did say the release was imminent. Imminent means very soon, and very soon is next month, because that's what we're hearing, is that the devices that are launched in basically early to mid-July are going to come out 2 weeks after that. So you're looking at basically the very beginning of the 20s, like July 20 something, down into the late Julys, when you should get those. That's literally only a month away. Next up, as you can see from the tweet from the Galox, he's talking about the Galaxy Store and saying the Galaxy Store could be soon a thing of the past. Samsung has made it clear that it will join their services with Google Nearby Shares now Quick Share, and with Samsung services like Good Luck coming to Google Play Store, there's no reason for the Galaxy Play Store to exist. And you know what? It's obviously not written in stone, but it probably is about high time they do get rid of that store. It is very confusing for somebody that does not want to tinker with their tech or doesn't know a lot about tech to have to realize that they have to go to certain stores to get certain apps, especially for that good Galaxy experience. They can get a lot of those still on the Google Play Store, but to move it all from the Galaxy Store over to the Play Store, I think it's really, really smart, especially when Google is becoming more and more every year becoming integrated with Google. It just makes sense at that point. And also the auto update feature on the Galaxy Store is terrible. I have it turned on to auto update and it almost never does. Or if it does it days and days, sometimes weeks later. It's terrible. And the auto update feature on the Google Play Store is much better. So I say, yeah, let's move it off of the Galaxy Store into the Google Play Store. Our last story of the day is all about a dummy unit of the Galaxy Z Fold 6 that shows off its boxy design. Now, I feel like we've seen this one of the front display, and the angle this is at honestly looks massive. And I'm gonna show the inside display in a moment, but this outside display, it just looks massive, and I don't think it's gonna look that massive. We've seen it comparatively in some renders, and it looked basically the same size, but ultimately, you know, that looks pretty big, the angle that it's at. And then we see the inside display, and that one, if you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, it looks a little bit bigger, but it's not really bigger. It's gonna be about the same size as the Z Fold 5. And you know, you're not going to be able to have this massive display on here that's 8 inches like reportedly the Google one is, and what the OnePlus Open is as well, close to, you know, a bigger display size. So, you know, you're not going to get that stuff. But regardless, you know, Samsung's definitely going into a refined state more than you know, just changing things in general. They just continually refine, and they're a different company nowadays. They're not the same company that maybe 10, 15 years ago, has it been that long? I think it has. 10, 15 years ago when they were coming out with these other Galaxy phones, and these things were massively spec'd out. They are completely different than the competition. They were pushing the envelope with different features. And to be fair, you know, it's good that they're probably not that company, because we'd probably pay more for the technology. Some of those features back then weren't always the greatest. The phone was laggy at a lot of the time after a month or two of having the phone, and they're past a lot of that stuff. A lot of their features just work really, really well now. And also we're on a different economy of tech. What I mean by that is all these companies are just mixing each other, and we're getting a lot of cross-pollination in the way that the phones look, in the features that they have, in the way that the displays that we have, a lot of them are very similar. So it's a lot of just the same, and that's kind of what we're in. But Still looks cool. I'm still looking forward to it. It still was one of the devices I am very much looking forward to, and I'll be surprised in a way if the Pixel or some other phone takes me off of the Galaxy Fold experience, because I love the Fold experience. I wanted to talk about the crease on the Galaxy Z Fold 6. If you remember yesterday, we showed off some photos of a dummy unit of a Galaxy Z Fold 6. The front display, we also saw the inside display, and we all know that the outside display doesn't have a crease, but the inside display of the folding phones from Samsung has had a crease, and there's been news, rumors, whatever you want to call it, that the Z Fold 6 will have a much decreased crease on there. And the crease does not matter at the end of the day. I'll tell you, I have had 5 generations of these phones, or 4 generations, and it's never bothered me at all. It mostly bothers people that don't have the phone and don't use the phone, or they just tried it in the store. But with that said, the dummy unit of the Galaxy Z Fold 6, at least in one image, does show a crease. You can see it going all the way up on the phone, obviously in the middle of it. And again, it's not, this is a dummy unit, so it's not definitely gonna be what it's going to look like in terms of what that crease will look like, but it is telling that when you look at the crease, that it is, at least via this image, and it could just be smoke and mirrors, that it does look like it has a crease. Now the other picture, when I look at that, the other inside display photo, I don't see much, if any, of a crease. So it's a little bit of give and take. It could be, you know, there is a big crease, or the crease is the same size as what we are used to, or maybe just very tiny bit decreased. I think what we're gonna end up seeing with the crease on the Z Fold 6 is that it ends up being definitely decreased, and probably decreased to a point where I don't think it's gonna be completely removed or barely noticeable. I think it'll be probably still noticeable, but fairly decreased, if that makes sense. Like, so like maybe it's 50% decreased. I think we'll see something like that. At least I hope we will, at least for the people that won't buy this damn phone because they think they hate the crease. Because I want everybody to enjoy these phones. These phones are really, really exciting. There's a reason I cover these on a daily basis, is because they're so intriguing to me and so exciting, especially on the smartphone market. They're just so different. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, I wouldn't put a ton of weight into this because it's a dummy unit of a phone, and those don't always tend to be the exact makings of what the real phone will look like. I mean, they are in a body sense, but the screen, not always so much, especially with creases and things like that. So an official promo photo shot came out about the Galaxy Z Fold 6 and Z Flip 6. I am not going to show that photo here. If I do, Samsung will strike my channel, and I don't feel like dealing with that. So I'll put the link down below, but I want to talk about what is going on with this photo and some things that are really interesting about the photo in general. Now I'm going to start off with the Z Flip 6. I know a lot of you don't seem to care about that on my channel, but I will talk about it. It looks really thick, really thick. The body just, it's weird because it's not that different of a phone spec-wise than the Z Flip 5. So maybe it's just the angle of the photo, maybe it's just the angle of the way they're showing it, maybe it's gonna feel just as thin or thick as the Z Flip 5, but it looks thick. And I don't know why. I'm hoping it's just the angle, but otherwise it looks like a thick phone, which, you know, if they ended up throwing in a massive battery improvement, I think people would be happy with that because it does have kind of weak battery life. But that was one of the big takeaways from it. Otherwise, it looks like a cool phone. The cameras are outlined with the color of the phone, which is always cool to see. But other than that, you know, it looks like the last generation of the Z Flip 5. It has that folder outside display, you know, the display outside that looks like a folder, same design. So, you know, nothing really different on that. Z Fold 6, couple things. First of all, looks thin, and it should be. It is supposed to be a thinner phone, so it does look thinner, and that kind of pops out from it. It also could look ultra thin for me because I always have a case on my Z Fold 5, but the Z Fold 6 looks nice and thin, and that is always a great little point to that. The other thing about that, and I think this is going to be something that people will grow to not like, but when I look at it, it doesn't look bad to me, is that the ring that goes around the cameras is a thick black ring, and I can see people not really liking that. That could be something people are like, just doesn't look very nice. Now, if you have that in a case, you're still gonna see that thick black ring on there because you can't hide that. It's not like, you don't like the color of the phone, you put a case on it, it's hidden. It's not like that. It's literally, you're gonna see it. So if you don't like these black rings, which if you don't buy the phone because of the thick black rings around the camera, you're a little bit crazy. You're a little bit too intense, that's for sure. The other part of it is, and I've mentioned this before in renders that we've seen, is that the compartment that holds the camera, not the black rings, but the little, rounded thing that goes around the cameras, the casing, that matches the color of the phone, which is cool. And then other than those two things, not really much of a difference. You can't tell from the photo how big the displays are or if it looks massively different on the front display or anything like that, because it doesn't show those photos. It's more the back / inside of the phone, but angled like this. It's hard to see. And then also they're promoting Galaxy AI, which they're already doing now on the Fold 5. If you go to the Fold 5 page, they talk about Galaxy AI because it's now an update that's been pushed out to the phone. So Fold 6, Flip 6 will launch with Galaxy AI. Unlike the Fold 5 and Flip 5 did, you gotta wait for an update to push out to those phones. But Galaxy AI, again, being pushed, and it's just one of those things that most companies are doing. You see it with Windows computers, really, with their Copilot Plus pushing AI, and now Apple's gonna be pushing AI, and obviously Samsung's already doing that, and everyone else is pretty much as well. But those are the big takeaways from this picture of the Fold 6 Flip 6. Samsung Unpacked is just around the corner, basically 1 month from today for the most part, and they're going to announce a bunch of products. And when two of those products we know that they're going to announce are the Galaxy Buds 3 series and also the Galaxy Watch 7 series. And we've got some specs on all of those devices, and I want to run through them for you to show the big impact they'll probably have. Let's start off with the Galaxy Buds 3 first. And these are going to be their, if you want to call them lower end budget earbuds, you could, but they're basically regular earbuds. They're gonna have one speaker. They will have 360 audio, so you'll be able to hear audio that goes all the way around you. IP57 certification, so they can handle the rain and things like that. Active noise cancellation built in, which is, actually, I don't think did the last ones have them? Maybe they did, but active noise cancellation is built into these ones. Adaptive EQ, so the EQ will adapt to your surroundings. Maybe it'll give you a little more bass, a little more treble, depending upon where you're at. 24-hour battery life, and a price of $139. So nothing terribly exciting, but some good quality earbuds. Then you got the Buds 3 Pro with two-way speakers built into this, so double the speakers built into the earbuds. 360 audio again, same IP57 certification, active noise cancellation, which if you have to guess, it's probably going to be better than it is on the regular Buds 3. Blade lights, I'm not too sure what blade lights are. Ambient sound, so you can hear what's going on around you, and $229, so about $90 more. But the question is, are they $90 better? That would be a better question at the end of the day. I will definitely be getting the Buds 3 Pro without a doubt. Next up, we've got the watches, and we're gonna start off with a new watch, the Galaxy Watch FE. It'll have the 5 ATM certification. That's how much you can like dive into the water and stuff like that. Military standard A10H certification, how durable it is. It's got 1000 nit peak brightness, so it'll be a pretty bright display on the watch. 5nm processor inside. Not specific which processor that is, but 16 gigabytes of storage inside, 247 milliamp battery, 40mm case, and Bluetooth and LTE models. Then we're going over to the regular Watch 7. Again, that 5 ATM certification, same military A10H certification. Now it's double the peak brightness. One has 2000 nits of brightness, has a smaller processor, 3nm, so it will be more efficient with battery life, and it will be more powerful. 32 gigs of storage, double the storage. You can look at that 300 milliamp battery or 425 milliamp battery, depending upon if you get the 40 or 44mm case on there, which is much more battery life, and Bluetooth and LTE models. And lastly, the Galaxy Watch Ultra, made of titanium has even double the ATM certification, so you can dive even deeper. Military standard 810H certification, more brightness. It has 3 times the brightness as the fan edition and 1,000 more nits than the regular 7. It's got a 3 nanometer processor, probably the same processor as the regular Galaxy Watch, the other one. And then the 32 gigs of storage again. Big battery, 590 milliamp battery, 47 millimeter case. And it looks like it might only come in LTE, which is kind of weird, but I guess that allows them to put this price at like basically over $1,000. And yeah, looks like a hell of a watch. Looks like they didn't hold back at all. And I love that. That's like, that watch right there, that reminds me of old Samsung. I mean, maybe if they threw 64 gigs in there, I'd be like, damn, that's crazy. But yeah, this is old Samsung in there. And what I mean by that is like throwing everything there, giving you everything that you could possibly want in a watch, with a big battery, a big face, huge brightness, a lot of storage, a great processor, a big battery, LTE. Like, it's awesome. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 might not be the spec warrior that we all need and want, or at least we think we need, but it is going to bring with it features that carry over from the S24 series and enhance that to even greater heights. Why do I know this? Because Samsung said so. This is a tweet from Ice Universe, and he's saying he is likely TMCo's successor, and he's talking about this guy right here, that being Wonjun Choi, who believes in a hybrid approach to the most practical and reliable solution to meet all these needs and put Samsung ahead of the curve. So basically he's saying that the TMCo's successor, which again would be Wonjun Choi, is that Galaxy AI on the S24 series was only the start to deliver a completely new and unique AI experience. We will further optimize the Galaxy AI experience for the upcoming foldable devices. Obviously, he's talking about the Z Flip 6 and Fold 6. Our foldables are the most versatile and flexible form factor in Samsung Galaxy, and when combined with Galaxy AI, these two complementary technologies will together unlock new possibilities. And it just goes to show you that we're heading in a direction where, and I've kind of said this before, where Samsung is not probably going to completely push the envelope with new hardware technologies. They're going to do it in software technologies, as AI is a software technology. And obviously, as the AI gets more intense and needs more horsepower, yes, you will see these better and better processors every year, like we do all the time, but then you'll also eventually see more RAM. But beyond that, you're probably not gonna see cameras that reach 500 megapixels or something crazy in 2 or 3 years. It probably just won't happen. What they'll end up doing is that AI is gonna be so advanced and so awesome that when you do take a photo, it's going to make it look crazy amazing, even if it's crappy. It's going to recreate it if it has to. It's going to change it. It's going to increase and improve the colors. It's going to do things like that. So the things that you potentially were turned off by, maybe even gaming, you know, these processors, they're pretty powerful, but you know, compared to a gaming GPU that's in a big, hefty, powerful computer, it's nothing. But with AI and other technologies, you can insert frames that end up missing. You can make these games look smoother. You can improve the resolution with AI. There's so many things to AI that you can do. It's not just telling it to create you an image or answering a question for you or writing a paper or a paragraph or a reply or a tweet. It does that, and it does so much other stuff that is out there currently, but it hasn't been fixed. You know, it can create videos, it can create photos. It's ridiculous what it can do. So it makes sense with his quote that if you think about it, Samsung will be pushing AI more and more. They already have it in their marketing currently, and they're going to continue that in their marketing with the Galaxy Z Fold 6. and Flip 6, and it's going to continue to be a big part of the overall usage of the phone and improvement of the technologies that are built in it. And I like the look of this guy. He's young looking, he is vibrant, he could bring something completely different to Samsung, and I like that. New blood brings new thoughts and ideas, and it would be cool, because I know a lot of people are kind of tired of TM Rowe with him not pushing the envelope in certain ways and not maybe being a copycat with copying Apple or copying this company and not really creating anything terribly new. So this would be pretty cool. I would look forward to this. But prepare not to have a fantastic day if you're looking to get the Galaxy Z Fold 6. Some news came out that is not exciting, that is not enticing, and is not very fun. Has to do with the cameras, and some information has been leaked out. It looks like it's going to end up being official on here, and it's just a real letdown. It's one of the things I was hoping that would change, and it's just not. These tweets come out from Ice Universe. Let's first start off with this one, where he says that the Fold 6 is just a square version of the Fold 4 and Fold 5 without any substantial improvement. Consumers will soon see through this trick. No matter how Samsung decorates its camera appearance, essentially nothing has changed. It is still the same, and consumers are tired of it. And I know you guys are tired of it because I hear it in the comments all the time. So I agree with him. People are starting to see through this kind of BS stuff that's going on with them. But to continue on, he says that seeing that many people still don't know the camera specifications of the Fold 6, I'll emphasize it once. All its camera specifications, including front camera, rear camera, under panel camera, and aperture value, are exactly the same. There is no change, exactly like the Fold 4 and the Fold 5. I can't say I'm not terribly surprised, but in a way I am a little bit surprised that we are getting the exact same cameras as the Fold 4 and 5. That's pretty terrible. And there's times I take some really great photos with my Fold 5, and then there's other times I'm like, gosh darn it, I wish I had my S24 Ultra with me, or my Pixel phone, or my iPhone. It's too inconsistent. It's consistent enough to where you can get good photos, but it's like it's like 60 to 70% good, and then the other 30% of the photos you take just aren't so And when you're spending $1,800 on this phone, it's hopefully gonna mean that this phone is gonna drop drastically in price because they're not upgrading a lot of the components. And that will hopefully be one of our last saving graces, is that if you're looking to get into the Fold game because you've never had one, you want to get one, that the Fold 6 will be less in price, and then when you add in a trade-in, it's gonna drastically drop that price to well below $1,000, well below maybe even $500 or around that price. You also have to hope for that if you do have a Fold phone and it drops below $1,500, then again, your trade-in value is great, and it's not that much more to upgrade, but it's not very enticing for someone to upgrade to this phone at this point if you have one of the older ones, unless one of your older ones is broken or run down and you still want to stay on the Samsung Fold size and you want to upgrade. But this is really looking like a reason to upgrade from a different type of phone, a non-folding phone. But even at that, you're downgrading a lot of the components. If you're coming from, say, an S23 Ultra or an S24 Ultra, you're getting less charging speed, you're getting worse cameras, the brightness won't be potentially as good. We'll see what happens with the Fold 6 brightness. The overall quality of the display maybe isn't as great as what you would get on an S23 Ultra or S24 Ultra. So there's just some key things on here that won't match up. So it's like, it's almost like I was thinking, here's a little analogy. I was thinking about upgrading to the MacBook Air from a Pro, and then I'm like, the screen's not as nice, the battery might last as long, and the display's a little bit bigger than the one I have, but It's not as bright. It's not as good quality, the display. The speakers aren't as good. There's things that are like things that I care about that maybe I do want to spend a little extra or keep what I have, and instead of downgrading just to get a lighter, maybe a little bit more battery and a bigger display. S24 Fan Edition will be out months from now, but it doesn't stop us from potentially knowing what the specs are going to be, and they look really good. They look very S24 Plus like. You gotta check this out because it might be a phone you want to grab later on in the year. This tweet from the Galox saying that the S24 Fan Edition will come with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 or an Exynos 2400, which I think is a pretty good guess to have potentially one of those processors. Hopefully it has the 8 Gen 3 because that's just a marvelous processor with power consumption and just power in general, how much it can produce. Brighter displays, also 120 Hertz dynamic AMOLED display, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise there, meeting brighter displays and 120 Hertz display as well. 50 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization, wired and wireless charging, duh. But I would expect you probably won't see, you might see 45 watts on this. If you don't, definitely expect 25 watt fast charging on there, up to 12 gigs of RAM potentially, and 256 gigs of storage. Probably won't see a 512 and definitely not a 1 terabyte version of this phone, and a price that starts around $600. Remember, this is kind of their mid-range type phone that has some higher end things and then some lower end specs in there as well, but mostly a mid to high range phone for the most part, and you can get a pretty darn good phone at the end of the day. You know, I love me some Galaxy Z Fold 6 news and information and rumors, and these are no different. There are a couple of tweets and I wanted to go through them and talk about them. The first tweet, actually both tweets, are from Croro, who's saying that the Fold 6 is a product that resolves the chronic issues present in its predecessors, and again we'll talk about that in just a moment. And then also the Fold 6 hinge improvement will enhance its durability and display, but there is little potential for improvement in areas such as the camera, which we learned about yesterday. They wouldn't be much of an update with that camera. So chronic issues, I wouldn't say that the Z Fold 5 has a lot of chronic issues that need to be fixed in a physical way. You can always improve durability and reliability with the phone physically. That's something that could always be improved with any phone. And this one obviously is definitely no different for that. But Fold 5 is pretty much, it's not perfect, but it's a good, really solid folding phone that you can totally rely on these days. You know, you bring it to the beach, you might ruin it, but because it doesn't have any dust resistance and the fact that sand could get into all the crevices and things like that. But other than that, it's a really well built phone. That kind of leads us into the other tweet, meaning what could they actually improve? And obviously we've heard that the hinge is going to have some kind of improvement in there. Maybe we'll see dust resistance now. I still don't think it'll be there if it hasn't been there for years at this point, but the durability and display improvements I think will be there. The display being brighter, the crease being potentially a little bit less, and it wouldn't shock me at all if it was a little bit less than what it is now. Durability within that hinge feeling tighter and just more proven as it has as over the years. Fold 5 is a great hinge. It's not, mine hasn't gone crooked like they have in the past. It's still pretty much straight on, so pretty happy with that. So I think, you know, like we spoke about yesterday, I think the Fold 6 will be more of a slight improvement over its predecessors, just becoming better and better, but still not a crazy spec'd out phone that we were all hoping it would be. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Have a great day, and we'll see you down the road. Peace.